Pakistan. He visits Pakistan when we were engaged in a scientific organization, and the second time I also would like to have him here. And he not only came just alone, but along with the team, Dr. George, as well as with Janina. Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Rodrigo is a chemical engineer basically, but he is very much involved in the biological tissue engineering, and it is very nice to have such a person who have the experience of interdisciplinary. He is very good as well in the computational sciences, so you will having a blend of complete science. Moreover, at that time he was working with the very famous institute, the Technical Information Technological Center of Brazil. And now he is a professor at the University of Araraquara, Sao Paulo, which is the southern region of Brazil. Over to you, Rodrigo. Thank you very much, and please, it's your session now.
Thank you, my dear friend, Muhammad Ali. Good afternoon for everybody. I thank you, Mr. Abubakar, as well, for your kind cares about my presentation. So, as said before, Dr. Ali, I'm really a friend of Pakistan. So I can say that you ever treat me as well, very well. And I'm just trying simultaneously to share my presentation here, okay? Just a second, please. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And so, continuing, it's a great pleasure to be here this morning for us, and end of afternoon for you. It's a happy day for me, and I was invited to talk a little bit about Brazil and about the opportunities here for studies, and I will try to put here at a glance, because it's Brazil as Pakistan is a big country, and many things happen simultaneously. Well, as they introduced me, I'm actually a professor at the University of Araraquara, and but I will represent also Renato Archer Information Technology Center, from where I am a researcher, external researcher. I've linking with CTI in the last decade, and enjoying this moment. I bring my George's greetings for everybody, especially to Muhammad Ali. I talked to him yesterday. And so I will be open here for any questions, even curiosities about Brazil, and I will try to do my best to answer all the questions, okay? And if I will be not able to answer some questions, since now I apologize, but I will try. So I bring with me these two special people here, Julia Adamo Nogueira. She is a student. She has just finished her master course, and Dr. Loneta Lima. She is also special, and they are both from CTI. And at this moment, Julia is also linked to our 3D Technologies Laboratory here in Uniara University. And they will be here. They are watching this presentation, and they will be very happy to answer students' questions. And I think that they will be very curious to make some questions for you too. And I just informed that, let them know that this is possible, and it's open for their questions too. So in 2016, I have with Jordan and Janaina an incredible experience in Pakistan. So we were invited to participate for the first International Nachagali Summer School. At that time, it was a proud for us, and I still continue thinking Dr. Mohammed Ali and Mohammed Javed Akhtar and other organizations. It was really a great time in Pakistan. So as we have different cultures and other customs, so I think that it was one of my richest experience in my life. Okay, so we had some very good meats and meals during that days, and we visit many places. So I have some registration, general registration about this. So you can see that through these pictures, we can see that the happiness around the happiness was in the air, and many places and people we met there. So we are very proud about this trip. Okay. So Brazil is situated in the South America. It's the fifth largest country in land in the world. Population is very close to Pakistan. Pakistan is a little bit bigger, and we are about 40% of the area of this continent. So we can see here all this the Brazilian edge territory, and so we have limit with other many countries except Ecuador and Chile. So we are here considering this trip just to give you an overview and an idea of the distance from Araraquara to Islamabad. It was not considering the shift for São Paulo capital to the airport, that is about three times duration, but plus almost 15 hours to Dubai, plus some time in airport, plus almost 3 hours to Islamabad. So it was fantastic. Brazilian is this number here is not updated, as I told you before. We are about this. We are very close to Pakistan here in this list. Our currency is real. Our capital is Brasilia. Our language is Portuguese. And our main cities are São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Brasilia, our capital, Salvador, and Belo Horizonte. This is my born town, okay? Here are some pictures of the cities, São Paulo, Brasilia, and Rio. Some other pictures involving Amazon and Pantanal, and some animals, typical animals here. Here is a slide of Araraquara, my current city. So it's a beautiful city here. It's about 240,000 people, 3 hours driving from São Paulo. So it's called the city where the sunlight lives. So we have here strong sun and strong and beautiful sun every day. So at a glance, my trajectory since graduation. So I graduated in the university, Federal University of Uberlândia in the Minas Gerais state. And so during that time in electrical engineering, I made some works in the trainee works in the telecommunication company, local telecommunication company. And after that, I went directly to Ericsson. I suppose that you know Ericsson. It's a Swedish company, and I worked there for 2 years. And after that, I went to Unicamp, the University of Campinas, where I got my master and PhD levels. During this time, in the PhD time, I spent some times in Portugal, in the Polytechnical Institute of Leiria, financed by the Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology. And just after this time, I went to CTI, Renato Archer, Information Technology Center, where I spent, as I told you before, 10 years. And I got the experience to coordinate the biofabrication group. I brought that time Julia. Julia was my first student advisor ever. So I'm very proud. She is my daughter, scientific daughter. And I was that time doing my post-PhD, financed by FAPESP. This is our São Paulo state agency. During that time, that period, I was coordinator of a project with our health minister, Brazilian health minister, and I had linked with some other laboratory called CertBio. So during this time, this rich time, I had the opportunity to represent Brazil in many conferences and many meetings in Brazil and abroad, to bring a bioprinting area to Brazil and to establish this with George and other colleagues, as Julia, for example, and with the other international colleagues, as Professor Marco Sabino from Venezuela and Professor Vladimir Mironov from Russia, one of the fathers of the bioprinting field. So we had great times. And I finished my work in CTI last year as a coordinator, a general coordinator, joined with George, who is the director of CTI at this moment. And this year I come to Uniara. So in Uniara, I'm professor and researcher in these keywords topics here, or these keywords here: regenerative medicine, 3D printing, biofabrication, and 3D bioprinting. So I started in last February. At this moment, I am advising one PhD plus 5 undergraduate students. I'm a coordinator of the 3D Technologies Laboratory. I created and had the great help of Loneta and Julia and other colleagues. We created this first international digital conference on 3D biofabrication and bioprinting on last August. And I had the pleasure to have Dr. Mohamed Ali in our scientific committee. And I was editor of our international journal here in Araraquara, a special edition in 3D bioprinting or 3D printing, which is for free. And the link is in the other slide. So some developments in this first months here. So we are inserted in a postgraduate program in biotechnology here in University of Araraquara, and we are focused in regenerative medicine. We have these developments, as I said before. This is, I will put during these slides the links here just below in the bottom, at the bottom, but I can leave with you this presentation after, okay? So don't worry if you can't, we are not able to take note of these links at this moment, okay? Okay. This is my daughter, Andressa. I have 2 kids, and she participated as a kids volunteer in this project we developed this year, producing with 3D printing face shields for donation for hospitals and health professionals in the combat of the pandemics, COVID-19. This is the logo of our conference in the front page of our magazine, this special edition. In the University of Araraquara is 6 decades university. We have here 37 bachelor's and undergraduate courses, including engineering and computer science computing and other areas as well. We have 6 post-graduation, including our hours in biotechnology. So we are a very new course here. We started this. We are finishing this year the 4 first years. So we are now reporting all the activities and planning the next 4 years period for our Brazilian Ministry of Education. So, but I think we are good. We are doing very well. So I'm doing this, but considering that I'm starting this year, but the 3 years before, my colleagues here did a very great job. So in Brazil, the area of biotechnology. I'm sorry for some text in Portuguese in some slides. Okay. But we have here in Brazil 63 courses in biotechnology, which embrace this professional master 9 courses, the master 14, and master and doctorate combined 37. Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, Mr. Afaq Ahmed has a question. He raised his hand. You can ask the question.
Okay. Go on.
Afaq, you can ask the question.
The question is the question right now, or I will wait for after.
Okay, we can wait for the later slot. You can continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. I normally forget to check the chat. Okay, I'm sorry if you make some question written here, and you can communicate it. You can let me know if someone put some question in the chat. Okay, please. And we have here 5 regions in Brazil. We are here in this southeast, and I have the most of the courses situated here. Okay, here it's São Paulo state. But I would like to also consider CTI as my affiliation in this presentation. As I told you, I'm still a researcher there. And it's very interesting to show here as a technology center, and it's under the Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation. We have there very good competence and very good infrastructures in labs. So you can see here some example of labs. You will see here in the next slides some links where you can visit later the website. So the center was created in 1982, and initially for microelectronics field, and after that the center was spread itself for other areas, and I was located, and I'm located in the 3D technologies department. But you can see many areas. And here some thematic axis from the center. So during George's administration there, so we have here 4 defined areas. The industry 4.0, advanced health, enabling technologies, and digital government. So they are here. We have here some areas. I'm sorry, in Portuguese, they are in Portuguese. And so for example, for industry, some areas, data, for those ones in computer science or in electrical engineering, cloud computing, wearables, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, additive manufacturing, robotics, computer simulations. In the health, we have biofabrication, biosensors, neuroscience. We have another biotechnologies in enabling technologies, photonics, that probably it's very interesting for you. Nanotechnology, micro and nano electronics, advanced materials. In government, we have cybernetics, assurance, systems of informatics, smart cities. So we have a very wide competence group in CTI. Okay, this here is the email in case you want to contact CTI for some opportunities directly. You will be very well treated here for the ladies there and for our colleagues. And so if you have some interest in some area or to know if there's some opportunities in that time, you can consider this. Okay. We have the other website there. This is the Open Labs. So these Open Labs, we have 6 labs there, and students and researchers can use this infrastructure for their own researchers. So this is a government center, so all of these equipments are available for science and technology developments. And so if you go in this through this website here, this link, you will be able to see there's an English version in construction, but there are already some details and contents available. So you can check this, for example, for your electrical or mechanical engineer. We have some important areas, electrical, mechanical, electrical, and other computer and other backgrounds I know you will have. Okay. Hi. Okay. So we have in CTI also a program called PCI. This program is the program where Julia and Loneta are inserted, and we have different levels of financial support, and if I'm not wrong, 7 levels. And so we can be since undergraduate students or just graduated students until postdoc. So we it's the case of Dr. Loneta, who is a PhD already, and she's doing her postdoc. Okay, and so I don't have this at this moment some more details, but again, you can check this, or you can check through my email. I will put this at the end of this presentation, so I will be happy to help you with more information about that. But this is a way. I'm sorry. You can, if you have some interest to come to Brazil to work as a researcher, you can come through this program. Okay, so we accept international interested people. So the unique requirement is that during the initial of the beginning of the scholarship, the student or researcher must be living here officially in Brazil. Okay. So we have this program for all that areas that CTI presents competence. Other way we can check information. My main mission here in this presentation is to bring to you some information, of course, but leave to you some channels where you can find some other informations later. Okay. The Embassy of Brazil in Islamabad is one of these channels, and so you can check later some information. I select some interesting information for you here, where you can find other extra information. And here you see some opportunities in other news about Brazil. Of course, during this pandemic time, even in Brazil, or not even Brazil, but also in Brazil, we have some problems with our normal life, as everywhere. And during this time, the money is for researcher is very focused on COVID-19 developments, but there are other opportunities meanwhile. But here you can find this embassy website, some information. And here, if you go to the academic opportunity session, you see here some links for our agencies. We have here some CNPq is one of our national financial research supporter, and we have some programs. Unfortunately, this Science Without Borders is not working anymore. I will talk a little bit about this later. And we have some, FAPESP is our São Paulo Research Foundation. It's the strongest state research foundation in Brazil. Okay. You can find here a available book about Brazil in your embassy website, or our embassy website in Islamabad. So we have the Urdu version as well. Here it's in English, so it's not a problem, and it's not a problem of language for you. If you want to study in Brazil, just to let you know, we have here at least 9 years of education. This considering the 9 years of fundamental or elementary and elementary school, plus 3 years in secondary school, which can be the last 2 years a technical time or a technical competence time. And after finishing the secondary, you have assessment test for the higher education. This assessment test is called vestibular. It's here, the name is here in Portuguese. And so we have not homogeneous or heterogeneous distribution of courses and the concurrence for this course. So some courses we have 30 or 40 candidates for each vacancy, but in other courses, probably like medicine, we have 200, for example. Okay. Yes, in the post-graduation, so we have the graduation after vestibular, and so have 4 to 5 years of studies at the university. In Brazil, you can find almost every field for study in all areas, and now we have many universities spread from all around Brazil. Normally, master's degree take 2 years, and doctoral degrees from 3 to 4 years. Okay, depending on the university and depending on the scholarship you have for doing that. We have more than 2,600 universities in Brazil, including private and public ones. And these public ones can be from the city, but in most are federal, and some cases from the state, as is the case here in São Paulo State, which we have 3 very strong and main universities in Brazil, financed by the São Paulo State. Okay, the federal universities are under Ministry of Education. So you can find this information in that book in the embassy website, but I just filtered this information for you here. And since 2012, the Pakistanis have the opportunity to study in Brazil at the university level, since Pakistan was included in the Brazilian program for exchange students that time. So all Pakistani students are able to come to Brazil and to apply for some university or for some scholarship here. And normally our program start our annual period is from February, March to December. Differently from the North Hemisphere, we start and we complete all the year during the current year. Okay. And so for more information, we can find and we can look for the Embassy of Brazil in Islamabad, or you can contact us if you have some doubt. So we have this about Brazilian universities, a bit more maybe as the previous slide. And we have almost 30,000 undergraduate courses. And considering only federal universities, we have almost 70. Okay. Not considering here the state ones that are also public, so you don't have to pay anything here in this federal and in the state universities in Brazil. Okay. And the most known internationally are the University of São Paulo, USP, and Unicamp, as I got my master and PhD, as well Julia and Loneta. So as I mentioned before, the Science Without Borders program, it's not working more, unfortunately, in some cases. That program, but just to let you know about it very quickly, this program was used to finance all levels of students and to send these students abroad. And so I think that there were some fails in this program, but there were also very good points. And one of the points is that we could not only send students and researchers, but we could bring international visitors, professors or researchers. This was the case of Professor Vladimir Mironov, where he stayed here in Brazil during 3 years. Actually, during these 3 years, every year he spent 3 months. So this was very important for us. And we had these all areas here involved at that time. Who knows, in the future we can have something similar to that. And so this was open for practically all countries. So probably Pakistan and Asian and other countries and continents were involved in these opportunities. Okay. So these are our main financial support agencies. So I will consider FAPESP, São Paulo Research Foundation, to bring some extra information for you. So here we have the link, and you can find some information about if you can come to Brazil to study in the graduation or master, doctor, and even postdoc. So you can consult these links here, so you can find more details about it. Okay. We have different types of scholarships for master, for doctoral. For direct doctor is that one the candidate who comes directly from graduation and the graduation course. and he doesn't it doesn't pass through a master, so he or she does this directly during 4 years. So postdoctoral period is also possible. We have here also a program in FAPESP, very interesting. It's called PIPE, in Portuguese, PIPE program. It's an innovative research in small companies. So FAPESP is financing or supporting small companies, startups, for example. So that the main interest is that after the development of time, the companies will be very well established and ready to go to the market, and in counterpart give money back to the state through taxes. Okay, but this is a very good money. It's about 200 less. Actually, as American dollar is very high in Brazil, but fast calculus here, it's about for first phase, we have 3 phases. The first phase we have about almost 200,000 reais or dollar. I'm sorry. You can request for your company, and you don't have to give back this money to the state. So you can use this money, this amount for paying some scholarships for those who will work in your project, and your company, small company, must be linked to some university, and you can pay some tests and buy some materials and equipments for the development. The second period is shorter, so 6 to 10 months, if I'm not wrong. So you must be more solid in your development in your company. And FAPESP also gives support for the management competence and acquisition, so you can participate in some programs and some courses. And FAPESP in the third and last phase will help the company to approach with companies and with the market to be completely well inserted in this scenario. Okay, you can find here in this link more details if you are interested to come to Brazil, and if you have a good idea, especially in technology or biotechnology, for example, you can try to get this. But of course, you have to have some link with some university here. But I think it's something it's arrangeable. Okay. Just to give you some ideas of the scholarships for a master and doctor and postdoc. I don't know the Pakistan reality about the amount or the value of your scholarship here there. You can tell me later if this it's in case of Brazil it's low or not so low compared to Pakistan. Okay. Normally these students live with other students in order they can make some economies and avoid to expand too much. So they share the residence, they share, and some universities have some locals, some residence for students also. Here are a table of areas. I'm sorry, I just after I perceived that this is in Portuguese, but these are the official areas of Brazil for when we are submitting some project. We use this classification to align our project. Okay, I filter here some technological and pure science areas. Okay, just to give you a notion about it. In FAPESP, we also have a program called Young Investigator Grant. This is focused to that PhD students who have just completed their degree, and they they apply for this grant, and FAPESP can give to them 5 years support and help to the PhD candidate to form and to build their own lab and to fix in some institution and develop their own researches and developments. Okay. There are other opportunities also in the FAPESP website. You can see here. FAPESP, there's a version in English, okay, but not for all the website. But again, if you have normally some postdoctoral, for example, fellowship, this information, this editorial is normally put in English because we have to reach the worldwide. So we have to put this open not for only for Brazilian, but for abroad people as Pakistani as well. Okay, so you can find this page here. You can filter here. You can try to find. You see here for postdoctoral at this moment 21 opportunities, and we have other modalities here. Just completed that embassy. Brazilian embassy in Islamabad, so we have this technical cooperation as well. Let me see. If you want to start a business in Brazil, so you can find here other content about it. It's not to discourage you, but it's not so easy to be entrepreneur in Brazil. I'm sorry, but it's not by the other side. On the other side, it's not impossible as well. Okay, so one business which is taking great space, great room here is about startups, as I said before. So startups, they had a different mechanism, so they got more. They have gotten more easy money. Is in terms, of course, but then by private supporters easily or easier than if they request this for government, for example. That is more difficult. Okay. Some hot areas in Brazil. I think that some of them are on the beginning, other are more advanced. And probably I forgot some, and I didn't put here other areas that I should have put here, but just to give you an idea. Okay, some question? Any question? Okay.
No, sir.
We have here in Brazil. I like to give this example, this happy examples here. We have 3 very well succeeded companies. The Embrapa is our Brazilian agriculture and agrobusiness company focused on research, science, and technology. This company was created in the beginning of 70s years, so this is very important. Brazil is one of the top one in agriculture in many sectors. Okay, soybean and other cultures. Embraer is our aeronautics company. We are very proud about this company. Just close to Araraquara, we have a small city called Gavião Peixoto, where we have a camp of Embraer, where they make some tests and maintenance of some airplanes, small airplanes. And these airplanes models can be found all around the world. You can find you can fly this in Brazil, but also in the United States and Europe. And we have Petrobras that is our petroleum company. It's also one of the if not the most important or biggest company in Brazil. So that's what my content. I expect and await that you can enjoy it and use this information. If it's not so complete as you may expect it before the presentation, we are open to answer any other questions. And I would like to thank you for the audience and for the opportunity. I'm very happy to be here in this Saturday morning with great pleasure. And I would like to especially thank Mr. Abubakar Ali and Dr. Muhammad Ali and all the organizations and all who are in this virtual room at this moment. I leave here my contacts, okay? As I said before, I will leave with you the slides so you can take with you and have all these notes later. Thank you so much.
Okay, if Dr. Lonita and Ms. Julia want to share some words, they can also share the views.
Hello. Sorry, I don't prepare nothing for share, but it's a great pleasure be here with you. And if you have some question, I can answer.
If someone
Abubakar, I
has
would like
any
to pose a question.
yes, sir, you
Okay.
can.
Thank you, Rodrigo, and thank you, Lolita. I would like to pose a question from both of you, and you can answer first by Rodrigo and then Lolita. In Pakistan, we have a very simple problem that normally the students, when they are passing out from the secondary school, most of them come with engineering background and most of them come with biological background. Those who are from biological background, they have to be supposed to be medical doctor, but the merit is very high. Sometimes they could not make the merit. In that case, they are lost. Rodrigo, please you, and then Lolita, you. Uh, can you please explain with a girl with a biological background, how can she work in 3D printing and bioprinting, even if she is not or he is not a medical doctor? Please.
Okay. If I'm rightly understood what you asked, Ali, you were talking about, you were asking about the background students must have to be in this bioprinting area, is it?
Yes, please explain.
Bioprinting area is a very interdisciplinary area. So it's not only medical or engineers who participate in this area. So we have many sectors of the engineering, materials, biomedical, mechanical, also electrical, computer engineering, and other competence, other backgrounds. But we need the pure science as chemistry, as physics, mathematical, maths. We also need from the biology science or side, we need medical competence, but we need strongly biologists competence. So I can say that all the areas are very important. And these days, during one lecture, one professional who was attending claimed that his area was not cited in my slide. And I asked him, "What's your area?" He said, "I'm a lower." So that made sense for me, because he was claiming about the why not law is not inserted in your slides, since we have the regulations and we have to think about these issues in the future or even now. He was right. And so just to give you an example that many areas are involved in many big areas, and of course many disciplines. And so many specialties are involved. Just to give you an example, I'm in my post-graduation discipline at this moment, my course. I have a short audience with 5 students. But one is medical, one is from science computer, one is physiotherapist, other is from biomedicine, another is, I forgot this time, but it's electrical engineer. So you can see how wide is this field. I don't know if Dr. Loneta wants to, or Julia wants to complement my answer.
Yes, and let me give my example. And now, today, my challenge is combining two manufacturing process to control release chemotherapy to skin cancer. And in my project, I have 2 doctors, and I have pharmaceuticals, and to complete the, like Rodrigo Rezende said, to complementary the information and the study is more or less this. I am a chemistry, and then my PhD and my master I did in additive manufacture process, and now in my research I have involved doctors and pharmaceuticals to create this dispositive, this device.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry. I think my name is my sister name Laura Dami. I'm so sorry. I guess my notebook is using her login. My name is Julia, and I would like to compliment what Rodrigo said. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I'm started to work with Rodrigo in 2011. And I never thought I could work with something so scientific, so sci-fi, because we are talking about start constructing an organ, biological tissue using by a 3D printed machine. And that I was so fascinated about the subject that I was so quiet, and Rodrigo said, "Are you scared?" And I said, "Yes, very much, but I'm also fascinated about the subject." And then I started to work with computational simulation. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. And I started to programming bioreactor environment for 3D printing organs. And that was the way I'm, as a mechanical engineer, start to participate with this amazing research. But you asked about students with biological background. So we have a pharmaceutical working with us, and she's working with a software that we call it CompuCell 3D, and she is modeling the development of cells in tissue spheroids to study the way they fuse and the substance that the cells must produce to create a tissue. And then she wants to validate her research in the lab. And also when we talk about computational simulation, that's my main subject, we like to see what happened in laboratory to understand how to create the perfect environment in the computer. And for me especially, there was a very important that it was very important to me to talk with people in the biological area to understand how can I create the perfect environment for my bioreactor, for example. And I was thrilled to work with amazing people in this area that worked with me in CTI. And also chemistry, as Lonata said, because I didn't understand much about it. And I need to understand how the substance can interact and how the cells will development to try to put on my computer the most precision characteristics from my bioreactor. I don't know if that can answer your question. I hope I could help.
That's
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Just I want to add, very nice to hear about Julia as well as from Lolita. If you are dealing with chemotherapy and then the cancer, so Rodrigo know that I have the background of that a medical physicist that works for the cancer. So my master is I am physicist. My master is in medical physics, and then I PhD in the bioprinting, in 3D bioprinting. So that's a blend. And I would like to just add this for the students that the interdisciplinary sciences provides you more vision, more knowledge, and more fascination. Okay, now you can pass on to other questions. Thank you.
If someone else has a question, he can ask.
Greetings, sir, madam. I hope it's going well during the coronavirus and this pandemic for you guys and for Brazil at large. I had a general question about regarding research. What I've seen in this research field is that some people like to do very, very fundamental kind of work, which takes a lot of time, for example 4 to 5 years, and during that time they're not publishing anything, and their grants from the universities, from the place that they're residing, and for example the government, the financing of their pursuits in science is by a government or a university. But if they do not publish like yearly, their H index, etc., goes down and their grants are at risk. But if they want to do something fundamental, which is going to take a lot of time, and they don't want to rely, and it does not require a lot of funding, but they want to, financially be stable themselves, and they want to be independent, how could they use their scientific knowledge in a lot of fields that they can, on, I'm not going to say part-time, but they do some kind of work that actually makes them, better off on themselves, so that they can focus their actual deep work on some very fundamental thing that they're free to, they don't publish trash that nobody is ever gonna do just because they want to have a paper out in certain deadline, so that they can remain in tenure, they can remain in having the grant from. I'm just. Did you understand my question? Did any of you understand my question?
I think so. Okay, greetings for you too, and thanks for your question. And I'll try to answer, and my colleagues will surely complement my talk, my answer. The problem is that science, pure science and basic science, let's say, they are always a risk, because you don't know exactly what you will find at the end of your experiments or your research. Okay, so you take long time for that, and extreme risk. And in this case, I suppose that government must support this kind of research stronger than for applications. I think that for applied areas, that researches that that are already being established, and then you know that there's a great chance to that you create or generate a product that can go to the market. So you are, it's not a guarantee, but I understand it's more comfortable, let's say, for this this kind of researcher. Other issue you mentioned is that some researchers that made their own developments and let's say in silence, and didn't publish adequately. Sometimes there's some residuals work, but I think that in our modern world, we have more opportunities, for example, to publish a paper. We have more
Excuse me?
platform.
Excuse
Yeah.
me, please use your mic a little bit. Please distance yourself from the mic because it's making a little bit of interference and it's we can't understand you very well.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know exactly what you could hear me, but just complimenting. I'm sorry for this technical problem, but I suppose that the scientists have our nowadays the chance to publish easily, or at least we have more channels for that, as we didn't have this before in the last decades. And so this is a channel that can facilitate the some way, somehow, the researchers can put their works published. Okay, but I agree with you that there's a problem with financial for this type of work, but they are extremely important. Without basic science, we don't have all the technologies we have in this world. Yeah. And just an example, I was thinking of when you made the question, the Nobel Prize winners. It looks it looks unfair because they developed basic science developments during many years, and sometimes they are already dead, and so they will get the prize. I know that's a parallel example, but and I know that you have four physicists, if I'm not wrong, Nobel Prize, and so this looks that when the winner of some Nobel Prize that who developed some final technology, he gets this Nobel Prize faster than those one who work with basic science. I don't know, just an impression.
Yes, Roger Penrose was really due to win a Nobel Prize, and he got it in 2020 because there's not much technical work going on. But he should have won it a long time ago. I get it. I get what you're saying. That to a theoretical physicist, I want to be a theoretical physicist primarily, and I don't know where the funding will come so that I can just focus on my work for a lot of time. I want to think for like years and years because it takes even a decade to the basic scientists, they didn't publish much. I mean, Einstein took 10 years to get from special relativity to general relativity, and he didn't publish much during that time period. He did, but not that much. So that's the thing. They work their whole lives, and but they don't have they have little snippets to show for it. And if I'm if I'm required to publish again and again, then I can lose sight of the big things in science. That's my question was not addressing this problem. how could I address this problem at the individual level? How could I use my technique, all the problem solving skills that I have, the math skills that I have, the thinking skills that I have, not publishing papers, but instead doing something that would financially support me while I use 50% of my time focusing on the big picture and 50% of my time financially supporting myself. Do you, is there a recipe of, you know, work that, yeah.
Go on.
Is there a recipe, a balanced recipe where I am working for money using my skills and pursuing the big questions in science?
Well, understood. I just gave an example of papers. Okay, it's not enough, I know. But what I think is that you must even in basic science try to convert this in a product. Okay, it's not easy issue, but make you must look for some company or create your own company and try to get some money from investors. Okay. I can see many people these days we are living exposing themselves through social media, social networks. Uh, it maybe this can sound like a bullshit, but sometimes when the scientist expose itself and show what he is doing or she is doing in the lab, because many times the scientist likes to be inside the indoor and doesn't go out, and so nobody knows what he's being done, and many times there a very good job and much effort are being doing in many years, as you said, and but this doesn't have a recognition. But one thing I would suggest is that the scientists can, and in your case also maybe, can expose yourself, knocking the doors of investors, and try to find some final application where this can also put value in your development, because investors and industry, unfortunately or fortunately, depends on the viewpoint, they need money back. So they want to put money. They can put big amounts of money if they see some possible return. They take risks as well. But if you can see that some of your developments are, even in basic science, can be converted in some final product or something closer, I think you have more chance to give this recognition and also to have money to put you ahead.
Thank you, Jazakallah. So your advice is to look for people who share my vision, and actually put forward a proposal in front of them that if I do this, it will benefit them in such a way so that they should fund me.
Something like that.
Yeah, I have a question. There is a question which I got through WhatsApp. Do universities support English language, or do we have to learn Portuguese if we are like aiming to study in Brazil? Then is it compulsory for us to learn Portuguese language?
Well, it's a very good question. As you had perceived in some slides I put from some official websites, we don't have translation for English for every page. Just an example. So we are typical one language per country. So I can say maybe that up to 3% of our population, if maybe this is too high, can speak English or other language, because as a continental country, we don't have all of our neighbors are Spanish language. Only Brazil is Portuguese here in our continent, and it's very difficult to travel abroad for everybody. So in terms of area or shift it's impossible. I'm just saying this to talk about this in university. Of course, you find in university a higher level, and you find more people speaking in English. But we are not ready at this moment in the most of the course to have the disciplines in English, for example. So your question, if you would need to learn Portuguese, I would say that yes. Okay, I can give you another example from a. I couldn't remember, Ali, the name of the director of the physics center we visited that time. Very sympathetic, and he lived in Brazil, just close to Araraquara in São Carlos. And I remember he was telling for us his history here. He spent 1.5 years. He brought his family, and he said, do you remember? Can you say the name of that director?
Yes, Dr. Mushtaq, head of the Nilob Center.
Yes, and send our greetings for him.
Thank you. Sure, I will.
And he said that he came to a postdoc in São Carlos. He learned some Portuguese that time, but he said that his son learned Portuguese quickly, very quick, and he was very famous in São Carlos. That is a city, the same size of Araraquara. He was interviewed by TV because he was. It was curious to have so far people here from Pakistan in this case, and he was speaking in Portuguese very well. So just concluding, Portuguese is not a easy language, but I think you can, as Urdu, it's I'm sorry, incomprehensible for me, for example. Okay, but I think if I would spend some time in Pakistan, I would learn Urdu as the same as way you would learn Portuguese here. Okay.
Can I compliment, please?
Yes.
I studied with some foreign students in Unicamp at my graduation, and some of them didn't speak Portuguese. In mechanical engineering, all the classes are in Portuguese, unfortunately. But my teachers always try to adapt their English. And at Unicamp, you can do some courses, courses in the Institute of Language, and they use it. Had some classes for foreign students to teach Portuguese, and a lot of students do the courses there. And yes, Portuguese is not an easy language, not even for us actually, but it is not impossible to learn. And Brazilian people are very friendly, and all the students at the university are very thrilled to help. Especially, I'm talking about Unicamp because I studied there, and there we have a special something like a committee that receive the foreign students, and we try to integrate them to the routine of the campus. And it's not impossible, and we always have someone to help, at least in the first 6 months, until you can start to take the classes more more easy and more integrated with the country. But it's actually, we are not so difficult people to deal with, so we always try to help you as much as possible, because we know it's very weird and difficult to start to live in another country.
I can add something.
Just compliment quickly before you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What Julia's told. She is right. Brazilian people have this special way. I'm sorry. I'm Brazilian. I'm suspect to say this, but we love to get visitors and foreigners here. So I think during the daily, we can help the foreign people to learn Portuguese. And I was thinking here, in your example, Ali, you live in France, right?
Yeah.
I suppose that you had to learn French language very quickly. And so Portuguese is the same way. Sometimes or some months later, I think basically we will be able to speak in Portuguese. Thank you.
I just spent 1 month, exactly the 30 days in Porto, and I was speaking Portuguese. So it is not a big deal. During my PhD, I was just there for 30 days. And in 30 days, I was able to speak Portuguese. I can understand when you are talking to each other. However, it may be my pronunciation is not too much like Portuguese people. And even there is a difference between Portuguese of the Portugal and that of the Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. Please continue.
Even for us Brazilians, when I lived in Portugal 1 year, and so that time some expressions or some words or some accent we could understand, even inside in Brazil. Okay, if we travel to some other region, for Northeast, for example, or sometimes we take some time to understand the accent. Thank you.
Yeah. There's a question from some student that what are the opportunities for non-engineering students there?
Okay. Normally for technology students, including engineering and computer science and even pure science, we have opportunities. Okay. It's was talking Portuguese, speaking Portuguese. It's a bit more difficult for human areas. Okay. For biology area is we have many opportunities as well. I don't know exactly what's your area, your field, your background.
If someone is here, like it was from non-engineering background, he can impose the question.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what's.
If someone is here who has non-engineering background, if he wants to impose a question specifically about his field.
We call non-engineering background the people from natural sciences like chemistry, maths, physics. We normally use in Pakistan the terminology is non-engineering sciences, which means basically the natural sciences.
Okay, maybe it's what I have mentioned as pure science. Okay, and so we have opportunities for that here. We consider this as physics, chemistry, math, biology as well. We have this opportunity for these areas as well. So the way to find something is the same I presented in these slides. So through these foundations, if you want to make some master, PhD or postdoc, for example, so you can find this. But you can access ourselves through our email, my email, okay, for extra information later.
Okay. I just wanted to ask last question, then anyone who is here can ask the question. I just wanted to ask that if someone is going for an interview, job interview, like is it mandatory for him to have an internship certificate? Like, is it mandatory for any student to have internship certificate with him?
before come to Brazil, for example, if you can come here and if you'll be requested to show some previous experience in another country, you mean?
Yeah, like if we specifically talk about Brazil, then like this question is tilted toward that way. But if like I am generally going to anyone who is interviewing me, and like he is like, is it mandatory for me to attach the internship certificate on curriculum vitae CV?
I don't know if I understood correctly, but if you are trying, for example, what would you like to try here? You mentioned about some post-graduation course or some employment. Of course, if you have some certificates, if you come, for example, for working or studying in information technology area, for example, if you have some special certificates in some software, for example, in hardware or some other competence, this will always help you to get a position, or at least to be very well ranked during some competition. Okay, I don't know if I answered what your question, if I understood your question correctly. I'm sorry.
Yes, you have answered it.
Okay.
If someone else has a question, you can ask.
Okay.
Hello, sir. It's me, Kashyap, currently doing a bachelor's in bioinformatics. Sir, I just wanted to ask that what are the opportunities for research in masters for bioinformatics? As you know, it's an interdisciplinary field, and we mainly need to work with biologists, as we are not pure biologists, and it's interdisciplinary. We need mathematicians and computer science background as well. So what are the opportunities for research in masters in Brazil? Mainly my field of interest is that I want to develop a system for cancer pathway analysis, basically breast cancer. So, what are your views about it?
Okay. That's good. Sounds good. This question. Loneta and Julia can also add some information later. Let's talk about it. We have many opportunities, many places here in Brazil where you can universities and research centers where you can study or apply for some scholarship for research. CTI is one of these cases. So as a center backed to information technology, we have there some projects involved some kind of bioinformatics applied with artificial intelligence, for example, back to bioprinting or for pharmaceutical industry. We have some opportunities. We have even in our course in University of Araraquara, scholarships in our biotechnology program, postgraduate program. Okay. And we are open to, I'm bringing somehow information technology for biotechnology here in our program. So through bioprinting and the application of information technology. So we are, my PhD student, who I'm advising, we are working development of a system for bioprinting. So his background is from computer science. But we have this opening, for example, we can talk later about this. But we have research centers, for example, Federal Center of Computer in the Rio de Janeiro state. We have Unicamp in Campinas, USP. We have Federal University of Pernambuco in the Northeast. We have many options and many courses which work with this bioinformatics, and we have this their own master and PhD programs. Okay, that can somehow absorb you, or someone with this background you were mentioned. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. As
Okay, Julia.
No, please, Kasia, continue.
You can go on, Kasia.
ma'am, you can continue.
Oh, okay. I would like to know what's your graduation background?
Currently, I'm student of bioinformatics. I'm doing my bachelor's, and my field of interest is basically breast cancer analysis.
Okay. Bioinformatics, yes. Actually, that's very good because we were talking about this in CGI. One of my most goals in my master's were to try to connect software of engineering and software that can replicate the development of the cells, and that's very difficult because I studied the vascularized system of the body, and I cannot be certain if the parameters that I put in my bioreactors, how they will act in the cells. And I won't go to the laboratory yet, and I like to try something like, let's imagine the flow of the blood, or in the case of the bioreactor, the flow of my nutrition fluid, the velocity and that I can put in my bioreactor, it will affect the cells. And what I like to know, to see, is how this flow will affect in the computer, but I cannot be certain yet because I don't have a software that have these two informations. I can't predict the shear stress of my flow, but I cannot see in the cells exactly. I can only see the value that I can have, and see in papers if this value is compatible or not with my cells or development of the tissue I want. So in your area, when we're talking about breast cancers, we can imagine that's a very important field, especially here in Brazil. We had a lot of research in this area, in this cancer area, and not just breast, but breast indeed. And how can we study cells instead of go to the lab? Example, in CTI, we have some research that we are trying to create other software or a way to integrate these two softwares, engineering software and a software that can predict the development of the cell. And for us, why is this so important? Because when I talk about laboratory experiments, they are very expensive, and we cannot afford to do so much of those experiments. So if you had, I don't know, 100 experiments to do, and using the prediction of a simulation, we can reduce this value to 50. That's a lot of money that we can that we will not expend. And so for us, in this kind of research, is not just to understand the disease or the development of the disease, but we can use less money and can use more money to do different kind of research. I don't know if that can answer your question, but yes, as Rodrigo said, we have this kind of research in university, like Unicamp, as I said, and in CTI. Indeed, I did my master in CTI with a professor in Unicamp, so my master was in both places, using the laboratory at CTI because we have a very large laboratory of simulation and softwares like you were studying your bachelor's. So
can I just complement one thing?
Thank you so much.
What Julius is talking about. In CTI, we have at this moment a project between our center using artificial intelligence and bioinformatics with a cancer hospital for children in Campinas, the same city of CTI. CTI is in Campinas. And so it's an example of what can develop in CTI. Also, we have a cancer hospital in many places in Brazil. We have our national cancer hospital in Rio de Janeiro. We have a cancer hospital in São Paulo and other capitals. So many of these centers and hospitals have their own research teams. And so just to complement and show to you some other opportunities in this area.
Okay, sir, ma'am, thank you so much. My question is to Sir Ali. Sir, I wanna ask that how in Pakistan currently, as I'm a student of bioinformatics and I'm undergraduate, sir, how can we make collaborative research and then we can go for a industrial applicable product. For example, if I wanna work with a laboratory where cancer research is going on, wet lab, biotechnology related and microbiology related. So sir, what's the way that we can make collaborative research that we can go for uh, mm, good and applicable product?
Thank
You're
you.
talking about,
Thank you.
okay. Go on,
Thank
Sal.
you, Kashif. In Pakistan, as most of the time people are not coordinated, that's why they don't know that what is going done here. Rodrigo and his team has visited in Pakistan. We have a lot of the facilities, what we can do together. I have the background of the cancer therapeutics, or you can say medical physics cancer treatment, and then physics basically, and then in the bio printing, which is basically regenerative medicine. So what I am still trying, I'm working in a lab that also work on the robotics, that's artificial intelligence, and one part of that is the bioprinting. So we make it coordinated. Our lab has been declared as the center of excellence in Pakistan. You may contact me. And then again, Dr. George De Silva, who is the director of the CTI in Brazil, and thanks to him, he has visited us. And also, I will know, as I heard about the Julia and the Lalita, that we have very extensive interest, which is common between the two countries as well as the scientists. So in future, we will be making cooperation with Brazil as well and the other countries as well. And if you are interested to do cancer research, what we were talking about, I have fascination that if we can make 3D printed skins, especially for the burn victims, so those who have something lost, skin lost during the burning, fire burn victim or acid victims. So that will be a great job. So the issue, I think that we are not coordinating with each other. And if we are in coordinating with each other, we can do a lot of the things. PIAS in that case is a facility that has a lot of the cancer hospitals coordinating with it, and also other the technologies like the electrical, like the mechanical, like the computer science. So all kind of the technologies are there, and this is the blend of bio plus the engineering that helps you to go forward in the interdisciplinary sciences. So you may contact me, and then I have the contact with Rodrigo and his team, as well as Dr. George Silva in the CTI, and that could be formulated as Rodrigo has quite extensively explained to you that they have a project on bioinformatics in CTI. So we can coordinate with them and you can take benefit of that. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much.
Someone else has a question? He or she may ask. I think we have no more questions anymore. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Ali. Thank you, Dr. Rodrigo. Thank you, Miss Julia and Dr. Lonita, for being in the conference. Thank you so much, all of you, and all the participants who joined this precious session by these four professionals. Thank you so much, everyone. We will end this session here. I will share the recording with all of you guys via YouTube, Mormon YouTube channel. So you can watch the video if someone hasn't joined this session. There's no need to worry. And
Okay,
yes,
I would like to add just thank you very much, Rodrigo, and especially your students, Julia and Lanita. I would also extend my hands for cooperation with you people. Rodrigo have my contact, and Julia and Lalita, and especially when you are interested in the treatment of the cancer,